Hello everyone, welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. Today we will be correcting some mistakes, and a big one of that is the fact that I built satellites to fit a constraint that we weren't actually going to end up using. So I'm going to look into taking the time to fix it now so that it is not an issue in the future. There are two major mistakes with satellites that I built in the last episode. First one being that they didn't have batteries, so they were, in essence, useless. The second one is I didn't add enough solar panels, not for what we were actually planning. So what I'm gonna do is take this, put that there, take this, drop it down to where I can work on it. Now we're gonna come here and actually work on building some very nice satellite relay systems. One of the biggest things, though, is we want to make sure that we have the better solar panels on this. Just because we do not want mistakes like we had before. Now, the main thing that has me concerned, aside from the size, that's just, yeah, that's a lot of space for not a lot of panel. Yeah, one of the main concerns I have is whether they are going to be useful. Okay. Very useful, actually. And whether or not they're going to interrupt the satellites themselves. Hopefully the antennas, good enough. Tell it to attract. And that's that. However, the things I want to do is change over where those antennas sit. Up. So that everything's a little bit more compact. It's not quite as small as I would normally want it, but it is a very decent compaction for the unit. Now the other thing I want to do is edit the fairing. I want to try and get it. There we go. And I'm not making it stubby because then the air is going to drag and it'll be a pain in the butt. Now we might in the future send some Kerbals up to go fix our rogue satellite network. But for now, this will have to do. Oh, that's cool. We have an entire launch site selector. Huh. Good runway. We have the launch pad. Small rover spawn. That's interesting. Okay. You like it. Let's see. Changing that, so not really worried about it. Yeah, I feel like this should, in theory, behave itself. However, one of the issues is that right there. Good, good, good. Boom. Boom. That sees everything set in a... That has parachutes. That has parachutes. Save it. Launch it. Some might wonder why I'm doing all this effort. Well, if you've seen the last episode, you would have noticed every time we launched, at a certain point, the ship would lose control. Now, that could have been very easily remedied by putting a Kerbal in it. However, then I would have had to supply, like, supplies, basically, but all the other stuff to keep the Kerbal alive. Whereas what I'm currently doing is setting up autonomous satellites to help keep other satellites in check so that we can launch anything that doesn't need a Kerbin without having to worry about losing our network signal. And every time we do it for any location, it will always be a small thing, but it is something we want to keep an eye on. I want to check. I don't think. Cool. Space dust. Recovery. Just checking through some of my dashboards to see if there's anything interesting I should be looking at. Okay. No idea. But we did unlock that, so for now, there. Notice a lot of satellites that aren't really doing anything. I don't remember killing off the other satellites, but also been something with save issue. Who knows? I know with mods I've had a few issues where things were not always as they appear. Also, you know, forgetting to actually turn on thrusters, so that could have gone a lot worse than it did. Now we are going to be careful, but we're also going to do a high flyer maneuver simply so that we maintain a connection, because as we saw in the last episode, at a certain point we just lose connection, and if we are not ready for it, it could mean that we lose the entire satellite system. Okay. And of course we've rolled the wrong way. We're already way too high. This is gonna give us a bit of a lopsided orbit. Not gonna be too bad being our first satellites, but it will make the job ever so slightly more difficult. What? And isn't that something? A little, something for me to, take a look at later. No, we are high flying enough. Main issue is going to be balancing this out. Fixing this periapse within the expected time frame. Gonna be a burn and then some. However, we are gonna start, now that we are in space, simply to hopefully keep it all together. Pop the shell off and get moving. Theoretically speaking, okay, we are gaining power, which is actually quite useful. I was worried with us being on the dark side that we would not get enough power to maintain launch, and we do have the issue that we are launching into the night. So if we lose connection and we lose battery, we will lose everything. Doing okay. Electrical charge is dissipating fast, but nowhere near as fast as I was worried, so for the most part, it should be good. Closed orbit. You have to do this very, very carefully. I think what we want to do is maybe speed up time ever so slightly. Reconnect. Here. Now look at how much. Can't do much until we've regained connection, so we'll warp out here. Messages, check the battery. Power is well. Adjust now that I have control. Prepare for a burn. Okay. Now, here comes the rub, and do it very carefully. Make sure that we are up here and we have signal. Save. Prograde. Reason we're going to switch to prograde while the top half is going to continue on using prograde. The bottom half is going to have to go for a return. Separation. Bottom half. Retrograde spin now. Boost, so we're not pointing. Rocket. There we go. You continue to prograde. We have 2 minutes. What I want to do is we want to bring this out to 250,000 meters. Reason for that is it creates a 1/4 discrepancy. That 1/4 discrepancy we're going to use to separate our satellites out, but that was the thing I was worried about, and thankfully I waited. Turn curve. Cool. Warp there, please. We still have connection. I being way too far. Go burn in 9 or 8. Port and burn. Okay. Comes pod parts. This carefully extend the panel, extend the prograde. Zip you off. Hopefully, sure we have connection. Now, in with this, like it's still worried that it will lose its control, but okay. Leave most of this. Fine, because our production should be high enough. Engine's running at full blast. We should be able to do this quite handily, even if we are behind. Doesn't have to be a perfect thing, just have to get it up there. We're almost there. I think we're technically halfway there. Maneuver, because we want to make sure. burn. As you notice, these do not have a lot of thrust. Very efficient, but they do not have a lot of thrust. If I was being smart about it, I'd use the main engine on the primary unit to get these into orbit, and then cycle it back and forth, back and forth. Because doing it the way I'm doing right now is actually, while it's efficient, it is not clean. And it's something you'll notice later as my satellites start to deviate a little from each other, which may cause some issues. Shouldn't be too bad though. Now, hopefully one of the things I can do is come here. Target. Two. Okay, we got plenty of Delta V. Plenty of Delta V, and I need to don't mess that up. Minute, apply the changes. Fortunately, I do have to go to an intermission. There has been a small emergency, but we shall return. I will see to it. Give me just a moment, guys, and I will be back. Sorry about that, everyone. The emergency has been resolved. We are back. Here's the part has me worried. Let me see if jump to the tracking station if it will give me options for the extended satellites. Fan of the fact that uh areas that we have forgotten to unlock that would have made it easier for us to get a signal. Is probably infuriating. Warn extra launch sites were supposed to give me the uh called the radar points, but it does not appear so. As far as I can tell, I cannot open or operate them like I otherwise would. Now, one of the tricks I could have done, but would have taken quite a long time, would have been I could have used a plane and gone across the entirety of the planet. Biggest problem is we're the probe for now. If it'll give me the antenna control I need. Roll. So you handle mission control. See if this is actually going to give us coverage. Because we don't have the connect needed, not yet. It is attempting though. Now the problem is now I have connection, don't have control. Jump. We are roughly in the area we need to be. Fortunately, that means we have to come back around for another pass. Ever so slightly a pain in the neck. At least now we do have control. Don't have network control. Going to be small pain. Could be something we're fine with. We'll have to look into maybe doing the other ones similar fashion. And Apple apps, we're gonna drop. the next satellite. Gonna go through them all. Technically speaking, is the way it's supposed to be. Maybe not facing this way, but what we want to do is go you on the active. That purple. Quick, because I realize I should switch this over. Here, one that is that should be under control. That carbon. Now, we'll do that. No idea if that is going to behave, but close. While this isn't horseshoes or hand grenades, we can let it slide this time. Oh, you. This is easy enough. Off on its own because it did technically gain some speed when we launched it. Now, in theory, we should have an easier time with these satellites. Whether that's the truth or not, we'll find out. But by having at least 2 of these out, should increase the odds of us getting a connection. Close enough. So, come here. Fan of that. Quite a fan. Here, have that, but we can we are thankfully facing the right way to do this, so our timing is off because of it. Separate here. Safety. Right. Tired for time at least. Roll. One on active and one on Kerbin. Could allow you to bounce as needed. Now for the very long 3.25 minute burn. It is very pretty, and I am very thrilled about the fact that the new shaders are behaving themselves. Bring this, our battery. 3 minutes. Ever. Friend. Not detect power. It's like right now, even that is enough to maintain power. Yeah, why not? Not gonna mess with it too much. I already set the settings higher than they are by standard, so I could very easily break stuff on accident. Rocket sounds. Huh. Neat. Close there. And there. Far away from that. Back, make sure we have the settings good. Switch back to this one. That because we don't actually need. That one. That one. It's not great, but guess it is what it is. Separate this out. Let it extend the solar panels for safety. Do is end up no, control. One of you is going to be the active vessel, and the other one's going to be Kerbin. At some point, one of these or a set of these will be set as moon intercept, but that time. Work with what we got. Activate. Activate. R8, so 2 RAs and a communicator. Okay. Huh. So it's these guys right here. BO25, that's not actually doing anything? Yeah. It is interesting. Slightly. Throttle up. And this will be the last one before we deorbit the transit vessel. So many places to view. I cannot wait. know, it's a little rude to the old series, but I am very excited for this. As much as I do like the concept of us having to unlock planets to go out and view them, the way the last season had gone about doing it had made it a bit more difficult than I would have liked. Every 3, every 6, every 9. Kind of like that. Do like the little chatter. It like it's not realistic, but makes me feel like the satellites are actually doing stuff when you don't have them directly set to respond. Right? Burn. Now they are all close enough. We're going to switch to the primary launch vessel and deorbit it. Retro. Your RA facing retro. Alright, friend, let's put you down. Yeah. Now switch to the Space Center. Now, the big question is, what are we going to do next? We have our one mission. See how long we have to achieve it. Never expires. So, technically, we're fine. Good. For Kerbin. Okay, that never expires too, and that's a good one. Next one. Maneuvers is already there. I know it says start exploring the moon, but flyby and return first science for moon. That might be going out soon, but testing some stuff on the launch pad could be up our alley. Course to their destinations. Suborbital, 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 suborbital. Okay, so they all want a nice little suborbital light for Kerbin. Honestly. Oh, that's important. Yes, yes it is. And I do apologize for missing your first little hello there wave. I like to do Kerbal. I think the one I'm using is career mode. But I like to do my Kerbal with some element of both risk and reward. And because of that, we are able to basically play around with some stuff and have just a good old time. My biggest issues, as you can tell, is I couldn't get my satellite relays set up the way I wanted. So it does make what could potentially become a dead zone, but in theory it should be fine. What we want to do is do a suborbital trajectory, and that should be actually a relatively easy thing. But what I want to do is make it so I can do it safely, because too many G's and we don't get paid. So, in order to do it safely, I might as well build a plane that is to sit on top of the rocket. Basically, as soon as we are out of the atmosphere, pops open, lets us put our people onto a suborbital path, and then bring them back safely. But the reason we would use a plane is because it allows us to do stuff like aero braking and things of that nature that a parachute, while we will be using eventually to slow it down, would cause some potential issues. Using this in theory. Yes, it's utilities. Capacity for 4. How many are riding? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here we go. As you can see, we have accidentally had an accident with Bill and Deb. Oh. Actually, why not come along? You guys are going up anyway, might as well get you the experience. I want to do this though, because I guess if I just do MK2. It should give me the tail parts for this. Honestly, I think what we should do, which is probably going to be for the best, is switch our editor over. Grab it. We're not actually going to be flying so much as we are falling this style. Give us some decent wing setups. Let's see which ones worked best. Lift versus our weight. Do that first, add the actual after, because that will be one of the biggest determinations. I do that, and then that should give us a decent amount of control. Drogue shoots. Everyone's safety. 6. Decently powered shoots. To the other editor. Get it going. Now, the other thing that's going to be a pain is getting that in a fairing. Might be able to get away with outdoing it in a fairing, but we will have to. Our system is the instant you put the wings at the top, things tend to go bad. Are you a avid player of Kerbal Wave, or just, you know, kind of looking to see what's going on? I realized I can technically here and remove all of that, because the only thing we're actually trying to do is get this thing into a suborbital trajectory, which is not that difficult. Honestly, the hardest part's going to be building it up to do that. All this to tour bus, and then we will just tell everyone hop aboard. Theoretically, this could go perfectly fine, or it could go so bad I lose my entire space program in one go. I honestly don't believe it's going to be that bad. Granted, I will be doing this very carefully. And we will be doing a high orbital flight, something that should, at least in theory, behave well. Have local control. Valentina, take us up. That wobble is not something I like, but kind of have to just let it be because we're going to be doing this as simply and as safely as possible. Yeah, separation of stage 1. Yay. And then close out. does put us on a nice suborbital path. And we go up. Everybody is on a good return. Fire this for the last 5 seconds. Just to give us distance we need. Retrograde, and this will at least allow us to slow down our descent. Safety's sake. Separation. Parachutes. That is slowly falling away to its safety. Has to be starting a death spiral, because what else would it do? Hopefully that didn't kill the entire contract. I heard something explode. Recovery, but something did go bang. We should be good until we are aim this way. Yeah, we ran out of electrical charge, so we basically have no control over it at this point. Thankfully, I put a lot of parachutes on this. Two and a half mark, drogues will deploy, which will nose us down. Also make sure our torus bit of a wasn't that bad of a spike. Down. Okay. Now it should go down gently enough that doesn't detonate. However, you never know with these. Thankfully, it looks like we're only doing 4 meters. Not the worst. We could be going a lot faster. We could also end up landing in a tree, which would be pretty rough, but I think we should be fine. Time. Covered a vessel. And I think only one person went over their G tolerance. Hopefully it still gives it to us for this. We'll find out momentarily. Got a decent amount of science from that, actually. They gave it to us. I will take it. It was a very nice payday. For E, I might be able to use this to open some extra sites if we need it. Question's gonna be, how do we plan on going about it? Okay. Go there. Ooh. Would have been nice. Okay, so there is one of the ground stations that we could add. Now the question is, I have had we are gonna go off from there and see if we can stop at that. Don't have a lot of time. At least in theory. You might be able to do a flyby of it. Bit longer than I thought it was going to, but we'll open the Sky Skimmer, even though it does have a bit of a reputation with our team. $23. Get this to the KSP2 site and see what is actually there and whether it's worth all the hubbub. Engines up, afterburners on. You're up. That. Activate the navigation for that. Oh. That actually makes it relatively easy. We just have to maintain this flight. Let's just gently let it gain altitude, and that should eventually find us a nice sweet spot where our speed will start stacking back up. Nose down for a bit. Just a wee bit. That far down, we want to have some inclination that we are not losing altitude. There we go. Okay. Oh, it is a bit of a pain to have it colored in such a way that we can barely see it. Not the worst. That is funny. It looks like anytime I want to do any screenshots or anything like that, I've got to take two. Lights on, just so that we have some kind of indication of where we're going. Lights on, actually. That should help us a little bit. 15 minutes. Start descent. See if we can get that going a little further. The other problem we have is, if I'm not mistaken, we're kind of racing against daylight. Not mistaken, we should have plenty of time to get there. The problem is actually making sure that we have enough oxygen for the aircraft. And as long as we can do this in such a way that we can boost our speed up and then maintain at least a little bit of it, should help us get there in time. Now I do need to do this because I cannot see. And I worry that the sun will not come up in time. Last thing I want to do is smack right into a building or the ground simply because it was too dark out. Probably should have put some guide lights on this, but we live, we learn. All parachutes will be together because we are going to do a safe touchdown. We're not going to try to do anything too fancy. We will try to get close to the ground so it's a quick landing, but other than that, not going to fuss too much. I know I'm being a little impatient, but we are doing what we're doing. I guess is the best way to describe it. Flying across the rising sun. Well, given the new time statement, should get there with time to spare. Our biggest issue again is going to be whether we're going to get the daylight for it. Like, if we get there with enough time and we land, we can time forward to daylight, but I don't want to be playing with time while we're flying in a jet. Just tends to end very poorly for these. Close that. Actually, let me open that for a second. Oh, cool. I need to start reading these more because there's so much that was added, and I could have very easily found all the stuff I needed just by going through these. Trying to keep an eye on the outer planets. Neat. Hmm. Oh, that is amazing. Two. Uh, I really should look at changing the hotkeys for that. Oh, that's funny. Like, it doesn't quite render perfect. Sorry about that. As you guys could guess, the home automation is a little too sensitive, as it were. But no, I was admiring how you get that little, like, kind of flare as it's trying to remember to render the cover. Okay, let's start reducing altitude. Yes, several minutes worth of burn available, so we're gonna use it. Go the rest of the way. Oof, this is such a very touchy aircraft. I have to be careful because, as you can see, it's very easy to either gain or lose altitude with it. The other thing is I am burning fuel very quickly, so... Oof. Knocked them out for a brief moment. That could have been really bad. They're going Mach 2.8. Yeah, that is exceedingly quickly. I don't know if it can get any faster than that. At least not with this vehicle itself. I think as we lower into the atmosphere, we are going to find that it's less forgiving. Granted, we will be pulling off the afterburners in just a second. Wait for it. Wait for it. I'm gonna wait until we're about 5 seconds out, or till our engine starts screaming. Moving so fast, the engines did not know what to do with it. And we gear down. And we are just about ready. Get just a wee bit closer. Cut that. Cut the engines. And EVA. Extend that ladder. Let go. And oil. Valentina has gotten her sample. Let her climb up. Forward. Her enter her seat. Bob, our scientist, is gonna EVA. He's gonna grab an EVA report, keep it. Take a surface sample, keep it. Plant a flag. Okay. Let us walk ourselves back. As soon as we board, we will pull the aircraft back. Board anyway. And recover. Oop. Go. We gathered a bit of science, bit of funding, everything came back. Looks like that was not a place that I could do building, I guess. Upgrade everything. Only because we can now. We have the financial capability to do it safely. Check our tracking station just before we call it quits. Peek at this. Open base manager. I'm confused. Huh. Open. Meet the waypoint since does not seem like that was where we were gonna go with it. Alright. At least for now. Space tourism. Take someone to the North Pole. It's either take someone to the North Pole or bring them back. Both of which, not very fun missions. Like, don't get me wrong, they're relatively easy, but odds are it's taking them to the North Pole, because bringing anyone back is just a matter of getting close enough to select them as a designated entity and then, you know, recover. But alright. Guess for now this is it. We will have quite a bit going on. So, I will see you all in the next one. This is Icer signing off. Alright everyone, take it easy.